You make a great point, Connor. The last time you and I spoke, the main topic of conversation was a season going to happen? Well, a season did happen, and like you mentioned last year, South Carolina was in football hell, and the season came and went. Will Muschamp is no longer the head coach, as we know, of course, and Shane Beamer got hired in that position. Let's go ahead and jump to the coaching search when it happened for South Carolina. I know we all remember when Will Muschamp finally got the axe and the search began, and the usual suspects, I guess the names came up of Hugh Freeze, Billy Napier, amongst a host of others, and South Carolina landed on Shane Beamer. Just talk about, looking from your perspective, that coaching search, how it went down, and were you surprised at all, I guess, that Shane Beamer got the job? Because, again, I don't think his name was, the most talked about or the most popular, but I think as that search went on and, I talked to former players and people, and culture, that was the word that kept resonating over and over again. I think as that search went on, it seemed like Shane Beamer was the perfect fit. But what did that coaching search look like from your perspective?
Same thing. I thought that in the beginning, this was going to be Hugh Freeze's job. I thought that there was no doubt they were going to make a big time move like that when you pay an 8-figure buyout to a head coach. That says to me, you're going to go and make a big splash after it. Now, we found out that it just wasn't necessarily the fit. And I thought that Billy Napier would have been a great candidate as well. But then the deeper you got into the search, the more you heard about Shane Beamer and his ties to the area and what former players were saying about him. And I remember talking to Stephen Garcia about him and some of the points that he brought up about just a guy that everybody loved. And Stephen Garcia shoots it about as straight as any human being on the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe him when he says, I actually liked this coach, despite the fact that he really didn't have as much to do with my side of the ball, what I was necessarily handling. So I thought that was a good sign, and someone who was just so respected in the community, in the coaching community. I loved his background. I thought it's so unique to have a guy who has been under such a variety of head coaches. I think too often we get caught up in the coach who has worked in this coaching tree or that coaching tree. And he's a guy who's basically from every coaching tree. And I think that that's kind of the guy, the jack of all trades guy that you need at South Carolina. We get so caught up in talking about which guy can be the best offensive play caller and which up and coming offensive mind would work best. And I get it, and it has its merits, don't get me wrong, but I think someone who has the experience of Shane Beamer and can be in all those different areas that it takes with being the CEO of a program, which is what he is, I think that's going to be beneficial. And I thought it made a lot of sense they went in the direction that they did.
Yeah, speaking to how genuine Stephen Garcia is, when we had Stephen on the show, I asked him about Billy Napier because I think Billy was the OC at Clemson while he was in college, and Stephen's response was, who the F is that guy? F that guy. So, yeah, he shoots it about as straight, like you said, as
I like Billy Napier.
I
like Billy Napier.
Yeah,
Let the record show. I do.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have any problem with it. That's just Stephen Garcia being Stephen Garcia, though.